everybody. This is that D28 that I was working on yesterday when I was showing you the neck reset that was in progress, where I did the video showing you the cave-in that was forming under the fingerboard extension. That's all been redone. The neck has been carved back to the correct angle and remounted, and that's perfect now. Also underneath, because it was missing the pickguard had curled up and shrunk and sort of come off a lot, which happens to a lot of the old Martins. And because they were glued to the wood originally and then sprayed over, as the plastics would shrink and curl, they would often take the wood with them. As it was the case underneath here, there was quite a bit of damage. That's all perfectly level and sealed and filled in and repaired now. A new modern Martin pickguard was put on, but they're a little shinier, and they don't look quite right on these older bodies. So I wet sanded this down with 800 and buffed it off with some of the rough rouge compound on my buffing wheel, and it gives it that nice old patina so that it fits in better with the older look of the body. The final thing I'm doing today is cleating off the crack that I fixed earlier. There was a crack about 9 inches long here that was very bad, and there was a loose brace underneath there as well. And you don't always need to cleat a crack. I'm going to put these right up here so you can see them. Normally I don't put work on top of the guitar, but it'll be fine. It's on paper there. But a cleat is a piece of spruce, or if it's a cedar top, I'd use a cedar. And it's shaped like a diamond with beveled edges. And it goes under the crack on the underside of the soundboard where the wood needs the support the most. Sometimes you don't need to cleat a crack, but this one here, this top has a soft spot right there because there's no bracing there, and it's fairly flexible, and I don't want this to open up again. Even if the climate gets a little bit dry or something bumps it, I want to give it that little extra support that it needs. So rather than using clamps and all of that, which I found that these rare earth magnets do a wonderful job of acting as they're very strong, and you have to be careful not to get your finger stuck. Ow. It hurts. You can actually get a blister if your finger gets pinched between them. So these rare earth magnets, one goes below, one goes above, and it actually helps to center the cleat perfectly under the crack. Okay, so that's a pretty cool little thing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of this paper that I have on my bench, and I use that to protect the finish when I'm doing this. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some glue on this cleat and work it in all around. And I will be right with you. I'm going to move these out of the way. And I'm going to go in and put this cleat right where it belongs to protect that area. You know what? I think I'm going to want to put just a little bit more glue on this piece. Things don't always go exactly as you plan. Sometimes you have to go back in and use a little more glue. I didn't like the way it was feeling. That feels like it's right in the correct place. I just want to check it with a mirror. Very close. Just a tiny little adjustment. Here's where it gets really interesting, because I'm going to go inside with one of these magnets. You want to make sure you know that you have the attractive sides facing each other. I'm just going to hold it over that cleat with my finger so that it's centered. And then do the same thing here. You can see that this is centered over the crack. And inside, the cleat is perfectly centered because these magnets wouldn't be sticking together were they not centered over each other. So that cleat has now got just the perfect amount of pressure because of these rare earth magnets, and they're self-clamping now, these magnets. And when that glue is dry, that cleat will be perfectly in place, and the top will be structurally sound again, at which point I can just do the final level and recrowning on these frets, make a new bone saddle, polish the guitar up, and put on the strings. Thanks for watching.